Hello there, it's Christopher coming to you live from Edmonton, Alberta again, and I'm here to talk about song number 4 on my new EP. The EP is called Effective Today, and the track is Practically Family. And the story behind this particular track was this is a song, and it's pretty much about the exact moment, of being, in this case, being let go from a job that you've been at or an organization you've been at for a number of years. And for anybody who's been in that position, you know, it can be, quite a surreal or kind of a very shocking moment for you. Some people less so, and for some people very much so. And for me, in that moment, it was, pretty calm moment or emotions in the moment, but definitely a lot of mixed emotions, and a lot of shock in the moment. So of all the songs that were written for this EP that are sort of surrounding that kind of experience and getting into just musically expressing what it kind of feels like to go through something like that, and for people going through that to be able to experience that. When you go through that, you'll be able to get through it and come out the other side and be even stronger on the other side. For that exact moment when you're being, you're walked into the room and then you're escorted out. I had come up with this rough idea that started just on the piano, actually. If I was just to started off with not so much of the verses. I kind of knew I wanted to be blah 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 blah. And the chorus, was something that came out, so music and lyrics together from the very beginning. Like, did you get what you want? Did you take all you need? Left me high and dry for all to see. Did you get what you want? Did you get what you need? 'Cause we're practically family now. And at the time, this was last summer, and I was doing a house concert where I was unveiling a bunch of these songs and doing a house concert and a solo show in that format for the first time. And something that I like to do when I have solo shows is, in my set, one of the slots is going to be saved for a brand new song. So I always want, in every show that I do, I'll be playing a song that nobody has heard before. Could be just a fully formed song that hasn't had a chance to play, or it could be something that I'm working on, and this is kind of like a trial or a beta test of that song. In that show, this was the song I remember needing to come up and finish it and write the lyrics for, and so on. And so it was basically written with that initial piece. I sat down and wrote it with a drum beat on here, which is what you heard at the beginning here. So electric piano, and just like a quiet little drum beat. Did you get what you want? Did you take all you need? There's a bit of bass on the bottom here. So for its first unveiling in front of a live audience, this was the version. So this is a Yamaha Montage synthesizer, and I was using the built-in sort of arpeggiator and the drums and the sounds in here to basically go and create the whole entire song out of the bits and pieces that were here. And then sat down to write the rest of the lyrics, and then I did it for the first time for that live show. after that, and when I went to go and actually record this song for real, I tried a few different ways of recording it. And when I did it live, I sort of had done it free flowing in the beginning and then went into the more kind of drum beats electronic version, and it got a bit louder in the middle, big ending, and then done. And when I tried recording it for real, I tried just sort of playing it all the way through, same tempo, same everything else. I think I have, yeah, in my Evernote, I've got this demo version. Let me find it in here. It's at the very bottom of this Evernote. So I did a demo of this that's me and electric piano, just all the way through. So if I fast forward, it's the whole song, basically, but it's all in one tempo and one instrument, and just sort of like unplugged with the thing. I did a version that was, I tried to do something that was more on the programmed electronic louder side, and worked with that, and it wasn't really gelling for me. Incidentally, I was able to find in a couple of old notebooks, Charlie Brown notebook that has a bunch of the lyrics in it that I was working on. Went back and forth on trying to explain really clearly what I was feeling and the sort of thoughts in my head without getting too corny about it, and just trying to be real, but not be too overthinking things, and not be corny about it, but somewhere just in like a heartfelt sort of way of describing what was going on. And then I found this one too, so it's a bit cleaner. And you'll notice the name of it is Empty Shells, and I'll get back to that in a second. But anyway, I'd finished the lyrics. I was trying to record, versions of it in my home studio, and just wasn't gelling. So this ended up being, I think this wasn't the last song that was written. That was the previous song, track 3, but track 4, I think, was the last song that I finished recording. And it was, even though I had the lyrics and everything beforehand, but what I ended up doing was throwing out the old recording session, starting from scratch, and going back to an arrangement that was based on the way I did it live originally. So starting off with a free-flowing, no click track or anything intro, just me and piano. Start off very intimately, and then after the first chorus, I would come in and bring in a beat, which is at a different tempo than the tempo that I do when I do the intro part. So it's, one speed and no set metronome or click track, and then brings it in with a beat, which is in a different speed, which is a little bit different. So it just sort of takes you on a different journey, goes through another verse and chorus, builds up to a big middle section, and then as I was recording at the last part, the breakdown and the last verse, where it gets really emotional, like it's very high-packed kind of emotional singing. The lyrics and everything are very, it's less about being a passenger and having stuff done to you, and like in the first bit of the song, but it's taking that around and becoming empowered, and like, this is where things start, this is not where things end, that kind of a thing. And with that power and that energy, I ended up putting in music behind it that was basically like Prince. Because the synths and stuff sounded like him, and I just wanted it to be like, it's energy and it's dancey and it makes you want to move, and it's like, yeah. And so I even went back in afterwards and I put in some old school drum machine sounds to even make it sound more like Prince. And made it a big thing at the sort of end, and then brought it back down and made it quieter again. So anyway, the song, it takes a bit more work to put it together when you have different sections of a song and they're not in the same, either the key or the time changes or whatever it is. But if you have a band and they can all work on the changes, or if you're in an orchestra and you have a conductor, you can watch the conductor and it'll bring you through all the different sections. When you're recording it, it can be a bit of a mess, to be honest, to try to do that and make it all sound like it works. But on the other hand, I knew that if I did that in my head, then this song would sound like kind of what I wanted it to sound like. It takes you on a journey through these emotional stages, and the music kind of reflects that. It starts off very soft and quiet, takes another turn, builds, becomes this sort of empowering moments, and then concludes. So, I've done things like this in the past where I've done songs where there's been a tempo change, or it's gone into a different section, or there's a bit more of it takes some chances with the arrangement, as opposed to being only verse, chorus, done. So this one definitely does that. There's some twists and turns that are thrown in there that make it so that it's not the same all the way through. There's different kind of sections, and a couple of curveballs that are thrown in there and stuff. So that's one of the reasons why I like it. And even though it complicates the arrangement and complicated the recording of it, in the end, that's kind of the version that I had in my head. And so I knew that I needed to stay true to that and not try to shoehorn it into some other style or some other arrangement when that was the one that I was working for me in my head. So that's what I did. And then the other thing I would say about this song, some of the lyrics and the title were an exercise in, basically needing to be okay with being vulnerable and putting it out there, what the name was. So the name Practically Family, and the reason why that's in the chorus is it's a tongue-in-cheek reference to the organization that I was with. Within the organization, they had what's called a brand exercise, or a rebrand, where they hired a marketing firm to go and spent a lot of money to go through and come up with the new imagery and words and stuff that they used to talk about that the brand or that organization. And they lumped it under this umbrella called Practically Family. So they treat basically their customers like they're practically family. So we're not treating them like they are family, but we're treating them like they're practically family. And so when myself and a bunch of others were let go in ways that were not a lot of fun, that's where the little line, did you get what you want? Did you get what you need? Because we're practically family now. That's where that comes from. It's a little bit nerve-wracking to record that because it's being pretty honest, even though it's a sort of tongue-in-cheek or sly reference to something. Still pretty tough to be able to actually not only write that and perform that, but record it as a thing. And then there's the name of the song. For the longest time, the working title of the song was Empty Shell, because that was a line or a term from the bridge of the song where I'm talking about cut out the heart, cut out the soul, and what's left, an empty shell of what was. It's a line from the bridge, and I say it twice, an empty shell, because that was how it felt like. The place that I was leaving, I was leaving this place. It felt like it was an empty shell of what it used to be or what it once was. It wasn't the full thing anymore, which is why there's mixed feelings with me leaving it. But anyway, I've done this with quite a few of the other songs I've written in my past, where coming up with the names of songs is sometimes kind of hard, and you want something that's kind of cool and catchy, maybe a little bit thought-provoking, and just not just something super simple all the time. So a lot of times I'll take a line that's from the bridge of the song and make that instead of a line from the chorus, for example. In this one, I was calling it Empty Shells because it was a line from the bridge, and I thought it made sense and kind of accurately described what I was talking about. And it was an okay title, I think. But when it came closer to the time to actually mix and publish out and make official this EP, I kind of had to admit to myself that the real reason why I was calling it Empty Shells and not Practically Family was because I was afraid of calling it Practically Family. I was afraid of being that open with the name of the song, even though 99.9% of the world who will hear this track will have no reference to that. That's what only makes sense to anybody who had ever actually worked in this place. Even with that remote possibility, it was still scary to me to go and be that on the nose about something, and actually call it what it is. And I made the decision to not hide behind something more artsy by taking a line from the bridge, but actually calling it what it is and calling it what I knew it should be called in the end, and that was Practically Family. It's the main punchline of the chorus. It's the catch line of the chorus, and you know, it has that additional kind of meaning to it and weight to it that Empty Shell just doesn't have. So when I finished recording it and I submitted it and pushed it to through CD Baby to all the places where it gets published now, you know, made the decision to call it Practically Family. And after it was live, I remember feeling, when I saw it listed in Spotify, thinking, holy crap, I just recorded a song and published it, and it's called Practically Family. But, you know, that's part of the deal, and that's part of, you know, I'm a big fan of Seth Godin. He's sort of like a marketing thought leader, just all around thought-provoking person, and he's always preaching how you're doing the most interesting work if you're doing something that might not work. And if you ship something or deliver something or create something and you're not a little bit nervous about it, that means you didn't really push yourself that far. And you should always feel a little bit like when you put something out, because that means you're human. It means you're living and not doing something on autopilot. So I definitely felt that once this song is out there, and that's the story behind where it came from and its development. It's why why musically it takes so many different curves, and it's why it's called what it's called. And so if you're wanting to be able to have a listen to it, the name of the EP is Effective Today. And as I've mentioned in previous videos, all 4 songs, the whole idea or the thread between them all is going through the journey, or going through the experience of corporate downsizing and being let go. And this is track 4 off of that EP. Again, it's called Practically Family, and you can find it online at all the various places you can find online music. So Apple Music and Spotify, Google Play. And I hope you're go and check it out and the rest of the EP. And if you have questions about what you hear, or comments or feedback, things that it sparked in you from maybe an experience you had, something similar, or someone else who's going through the same thing, please feel free to comment down below and let me know, because I'd love to chat about that. And thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you again online next week. Thanks, everybody.